Hi guys, I'm on the lookout for a secluded court because I'm going to be hitting some balls over the fence for a very specific reason. I want to show you how intuitively we rotate our torso to gain more power. So let's check this place out. I want to make sure there's a nice big area with nobody around right behind the court, and this place looks perfect. I'm going to hit some balls over the fence. So while I'm picking up the balls, let me explain to you why I'm doing this. So you see, professional players will many times hit balls into the stands either out of joy or out of anger. And the shot they use when they do this doesn't have a name. It's hit on the forehand side, and the purpose is to hit the ball as hard as possible and as far as possible. And the interesting thing about this shot is that it's a completely intuitive shot that nobody learns and nobody practices. So in today's video, we're going to get into the biomechanics of this shot and how it relates to getting power on the forehand. The biomechanics behind this shot are very interesting, and players do not learn how to hit this shot. They simply pick up a ball and rip it as hard as they can, and they perform certain body actions in order to get power intuitively. And these intuitive actions in order to get power is the loading and the unloading of the torso. So what happens is, when we are ready to hit the ball as hard as we can, we're going to go down with the upper body a little bit, and we're going to create a V between the outside leg and the upper body. This works in a closed stance position as well, where the upper body bends and we create a V shape between the leg and the upper body. So this is the loading stage. Now, in addition to that, we're not going to start with the racket down. We want the racket to pick up a little bit of momentum. So we're going to start with somewhat of a loop, and also we're going to be in a continental grip to hit the ball as flat as possible and as hard as possible. So from here, we are simply going to straighten the upper body and accelerate. The contact point on a shot like this ideally needs to be lower, somewhere between the hip area and the knee. So check out when I rip one where I make contact. So the lower the ball drops, the more my racket can accelerate into the slots. Now, because the contact point is going to be lower, our right shoulder will drop and our left leg will usually lift off the ground as we accelerate downwards. Once we have made contact, we simply continue going this way and we rotate the torso fully. And the body action that's responsible for the most amount of acceleration is the loading and the unloading. So when we go from here, and now when we from this side, straighten the torso and rotate it at the same time. See this action right here, this accelerates the racket tremendously. And take another look. So I'm going to load, and now when I unload, I get an incredible amount of acceleration from this action. A slight variation of the shot I just performed is sometimes seen on the Pro Tour. Back in the day, when guys used to come to the net with a bad approach shot against Ivan Lendl, he would unload missing as very high with this type of shot. Do not try this shot in a real match. It's not worth it. You're going to make 1 out of 10, if that. It's simply impossible to get the ball in. It's just too low percentage of a shot. However, we can learn a lot in how we get power on this shot, and we can do the same thing when we hit our forehand. On the regular forehand stroke, we always need to have control as our top priority. However, if you are an advanced player, you can start thinking about adding a little bit of power. And the great thing we can learn about in this intuitive shot where we go for maximum power is that we can try to load our regular forehand the same way. So as we are waiting for the ball with both hands on the racket, we can start leaning towards the hitting side of the body. We can start bending our torso forward. We can create a slight V shape. We then should be able to load and unload the forehand the same way, and we will get more power. So let me try one out. I'm going to feed myself a ball, and I'm going to try to load it the same way. Load here, and I unload. Let me try another one. I'm going to load it the same way by going down a little bit, and then unloading. Let me try another one. I'm going to load it the same way, and then unload it. And the wrist is not part of a powerful shot like this. Anytime we use the wrist in tennis, it's for finesse. When it comes to power, cut off short. In addition to that, the risk of injury is very high, and the probability of the ball going in is very low. The important takeaway from today's lesson is that intuitively we use the torso rotation to generate power. So if you are actively trying to step forward towards the ball regardless of the penetration of the ball, and then in addition to that you're trying to hit forward while staying sideways, you're doing yourself a big disservice to your forehand. Instead of that, utilize the body's rotation to achieve more power and more control.